Whether you've been working as a remote employee for some time or just recently finding yourself in this new work environment, this alternative approach to work requires a slightly different MO than what you've been used to. Yes, you get to choose what coffee is made. The dishes in the sink are yours and yours alone. You won't have food gathering dust and mold in the fridge, unless you're the culprit. No one will steal your lunch, hopefully. And your commute is much shorter than what it used to be. Working from home can be great, but it can also present some potential obstacles to be mindful of. A remote work environment and structure isn't simply taking what you did in the office to now doing it from your couch. As someone who's worked remotely almost 100% for the last 15 years, I wanted to share with you some of the not so true assumptions, lessons, missteps, and tips that I've learned to help you as you adjust to your new normal work life, at least for the time being. The first Painted Porch strategy for becoming a work from home master is manage your schedule. The reality is that to be an effective and valuable member of a company while working remotely, you still have to approach your day and obligations as if you were in the office. While working from home may provide some time and cost savings to both you and your company, you have to still manage and schedule your work time to ensure you're getting done what is necessary, not in between laundry, vacuuming, Netflix, and so on. However, since you may find yourself also now being full-time teacher, daycare, cook, and activities director, make sure you have an honest conversation with your leader and team to establish what is reasonable, acceptable, and realistic as you try to balance all of those roles while still regularly showing up for work. This is an unprecedented time for everyone, and being able to have flexibility in when you work may be necessary in order to stay grounded. Trying to do it all at work plus what's being demanded of you in your home is a recipe for burnout. You need to ensure you're creating a healthy balance as much as possible in order to keep stress levels manageable to ward off illness. So make sure you're sharing your realities with your team and leader honestly. Work from home Painted Porch strategy number 2, don't skip getting ready. Yes, there are many days I have found myself working in my yoga pants and a t-shirt. And while it's a comfortable way to spend your day, I found that over time I craved actually getting up and dressing up. There's something to be said about having a routine each morning where you get up, take a shower, brush your teeth, brush your hair, put on a nice work outfit, and be presentable. If you tend to work in the same clothes you slept or worked out in, how professional are you approaching your work and in your communications with your teammates and your clients? Now, is it worth the presumed unnecessary dry cleaning bill to dress up when no one can see you? No. But for those days when you'll be on several calls with your coworkers or clients, it might be worth throwing on a nice outfit and being properly groomed. You may find that in dressing as if you're at the office or in front of them, you communicate differently than if you were kicked back in your most comfortable sweats. And it may prove beneficial for when one of those calls ends up using video unexpectedly. Painted Porch strategy number 3 centers on establishing clear communication practices. Our master of communication, Rob Hunter, touches on some of the more specific ways in which to effectively use different communication methods. But just remember, it's important to establish what is reasonable, acceptable, and useful for you and your team when it comes to how, when, and where you're communicating with one another. Some things to keep in mind. Make sure you're communicating your schedule to your team, especially if adjustments have to be made to accommodate the extra hats that you're now wearing at home. And make sure you include time for movement and meals. Many times working from home can mean you never leave the office. Small breaks here and there are vital to keep or refill your energy tank. And by that, I don't mean drinking more coffee. This also can help ensure that you're bringing your best self, your ideas, and problem-solving skills to your team and your clients. So take a break. It's vital. Another helpful communication tip is to establish the criteria for urgent versus important activities with one another. President Eisenhower once famously said, "I have two kinds of problems, the urgent and the important. The urgent are not important, and the important are never urgent." An urgent item is one that, if not addressed right now, can have immediate consequences, whereas important activities are those that can contribute to achieving your long-term goals or initiatives. When thinking about how work is prioritized or interrupted, we often tend to focus too much on items that are perceived to be urgent and those that are not important. So before stopping to read or send that email or chat message, making that phone call, or scheduling that hair on fire, stop everything meeting, ask yourself a few simple questions. Is this something that must be addressed immediately, or can it be handled at a later time, be it today, this week, this month, or this year? Does this require an action by me, or is it simply informational? Can or should someone else address this? And even if that answer is yes, you should also ask the other questions to ensure that you're not unintentionally or intentionally hijacking someone else's intended focus for the day. Does this item contribute to my or my team's goals? All of those will be helpful in determining and deciphering between the truly urgent items and the important ones that are going to help you and your team move forward towards your goals and mission. Another idea is to draw clear terms of use rules per communication medium. Determine as a team in what circumstances you'll use email, chat, phone, meeting, text, carrier pigeon, whatever you use, to communicate with one another. Each has their purpose for use. Be clear on what to use and when. Another idea to help continue the collaboration you may have otherwise had access to in the office is to schedule what I would call working sessions. Now, these aren't meetings, but it's simply a period of time where you're on a call with one or more of your teammates working independently, but you have access to pick each other's brains or request assistance as needed. It's essentially a virtual cubicle chat. You can also use these working sessions as a way to keep one another accountable for commitments. So let's say you jump on a call on a working session for about an hour and use it to set a time limit for a goal for one another. This is commonly recommended practice for the Get Things Done or GTD methodology and can be really helpful so you can help each other move the pin forward or move it along towards the goal. Our last painted perch strategy to become a work from home hero is don't lose sight of one another. When you're working remotely, you can sometimes find yourself on an island and relying heavily or solely on email, chat, or phone calls to communicate with your team and clients. However, being able to still see one another is extremely important in continuing to feel connection with your colleagues. Trust me, I've been there with the no makeup, didn't take a shower, hair in a bun, messy background, no bra excuses. But the reality is that when we disconnect from seeing one another, we lose part of the human kindness and camaraderie we may have been used to in the office, even if it was only during coffee breaks or hall chats. Here is what my office looks like. Now, do I wish I had an Instagram or Pinterest-worthy background of beautiful bookcases or a set of beautifully framed and scripted inspirational quotes and posters? Or maybe one like this? Yes, I do. But you know what? This background is a true, authentic representation of my life and work. Don't fake the funk and try to hide behind your reality. Share your vulnerability with your colleagues. I have no doubt they're struggling with some version of the same. Shared realities can help create compassion, flexibility, and kinsmanship. Now, these suggestions aren't solely reserved for when all or part of your time is spent working remotely. You can, and most likely should, strongly recommended, consider doing these anytime with any team in any environment. Actively and intentionally manage your schedule to ensure that you're meeting your intended objectives for the day. Continue your regular getting ready ritual most days, including taking a shower and putting on pants. Establish and agree on acceptable communication channels, importance, and frequency. And don't hide behind a false reality of your work situation. At times, this change to your work structure and approach may seem difficult to get right. Socrates once said, the secret of change is to focus all of your energy not on fighting the old, but on building the new. Through employing each of these painted porch strategies for mastering your work from home, you can conquer your day, even if you have to put on pants. So until next time, continue to be extraordinary and strive for constant practice, not perfection. See you next time, friends.